Okay, welcome to another class where we're of Emunah Therapy Live, where we hope to demonstrate some of the principles of a method of personal change and growth that is based on Emunah, based on faith, the faith of the Torah, that is. Everything that we're going to be doing today is going to be based on teachings from classical works of the Torah. And today we have a volunteer, Denise, who has bravely stepped forward. So I know Denise. She's taken a few classes with us before. I have never worked with her individually. I don't know anything about this issue that she's raising here today, other than the name of the issue itself, which is what you know from looking at the advertisements. So Denise, thank you for coming. Welcome. And if you would, in your own words, just tell us what it is that you're hoping to accomplish today. What is the issue for you?
Okay, well, hello, and thank you for the opportunity. Well, my issue, it has been like, this is struggling since like 25 years ago or something like that, when I have like to choose the career that I was going to study. But since I recall what I wanted to be like in my life, I want to form a family. I want to have like my husband, my kids, and like be able to dedicate for them and cook for them and do like the traditional things a woman should do. But in this modern world, it's like that it's not enough. It's like it's kind of odd if you want like that thing in your life. So and like my life was going on. I was first like be able to complete my career and start working, and then I formed my family. And when I have my little girls, the struggle came like more and more vivid, because they have to be in a daycare while I was working, and like making this change, like going out of this big mountain of being a working mom outside of my house. It's like a big struggle. It's like something, even my husband supports me, and my girls. It's like I have that pressure on me that it doesn't allow me to enjoy what I have with my family. Mhm.
So what you're saying is that you went and got an education and was trained for a particular profession, and then you developed a family, you started having children, and then you really wanted to be a mother, a full-time mother. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But you're still feeling the pressure of having to earn money and sometimes not be available for your kids and having babysitters and things like that.
Yes.
How old are your children?
6 and 8.
6 and 8. A boy and a girl?
2 girls.
2 girls?
Yes.
And your husband is working?
Yes, he's working.
Full-time?
Full-time.
And how many hours a week do you work?
Me?
Yeah.
Well,
outside of the house.
This past year, it has been like different. Maybe it depends. I can like make my own schedule, but if I dedicate to my career in a full-time basis, it will be 8 hours a day or more, because I studied accounting. So
and then when it's during tax season, it's probably even more than that.
Yes.
Yeah. And may I ask, how are your children doing?
They are awesome. They are really independent. They are always like being talk to well, don't bother mom if she's like sleeping because she has work a lot, or things like that. And well, they're really independent, even though they also need me, but they're great kids.
They're great kids.
Yes.
So the fact that you work so many hours outside of the home doesn't seem to be affecting them in any negative way that's significant that you can see. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I think that they spend a lot of time alone,
Mm-hmm.
like like with others, and uh, that's how I say it. And then they need guidance,
Mm-hmm.
so they need someone to be there, watching what is going on, not the TV or the neighbors or a third party, like for guidance mainly.
Right, right, right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, you seem like the type of mother who, when you are able to be with your children, that you give them quality time, that you're really connected with them and you're guiding them in that way. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. I try to do cooking with them. I teach them to meditate. I read with them, and like, yes,
Your
go for
children are
walks with
only,
them.
your children are so young and they already know how to meditate. That's unbelievable.
Well, I try to teach them. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Now, what is your husband's, here we get into a little bit, sometimes a tricky situation,
Mhm.
a delicate situation, we might say, but I have to ask. What is your husband's attitude? What does he say about this conflict that you have between career and making money and being a mother at home?
Well, he's really supportive. He's awesomely supportive. And what I have seen, it's like since last year, because this like transition started like 4 years ago when I stopped working full time for a corporation,
Mm,
and I start like growing my own business. But it's also struggling because you have like to go and see for clients and blah blah blah.
yeah.
And 1 year ago, I just like dismissed all of my clients, and I told him, uh, I will just like trust in God, and let's see what He will do. And what I've seen from this time, since this time, is that he's been improving in his career. He has always been a very good employee, and about
Worker.
what he's doing, yes, but I've seen a change. It's like he's more powerful, something like that. I don't know how to explain it. He has been like doing trainings for making improvements in his career growth, and all that. And I somehow I feel like it started when I just like step back.
I think it started, if you don't mind me correcting you slightly, I think it started when you started to pray and you started to trust God that God would help you with this. And then God helped you to step back and God helped your husband to be more productive and more of an earner. Um,
Mhm.
wow. So this happened about a year ago, you're saying?
Yes.
Wow. 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 Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
actually, mainly when I first finished the first seminar of care, I think, now that I'm talking to you.
I have no doubt that that your prayers are what is improving the situation and has been improving the situation over the last year.
Mhm.
Your emunah, your trust, your faith in God. Um, okay, so you've been successfully able to reduce the amount of work that you've been doing over the last year?
Yes.
But I'm guessing that the reason why you are bringing this up today and why you want to work on this with me is because you still have some residual feelings. Something is not completely yet settled within you about this.
Yes, what it's like feeling more struggle these days, it's that I definitely know what I don't want to do. I don't want to keep doing accounting for others or that kind of thing. I want like to make a switch in what I've been doing, and yes, for obviously focus more on my family and enjoying them. But I know that for doing that I need to start like doing something else if I have like to continue uh, giving my light, you know.
Giving your light.
Yes.
That could be what it is that you're looking to do this differently. Are you saying that you feel that in accounting, which is a fine profession, obviously, you feel that you're not able to give your light as much as you would like to?
Yes, that's what I feel, because like in order to be a good professional in accounting, you have like to invest time reading about accounting, preparing and knowing the last laws and the impact and all that, and that it's time consuming, and it and takes my energy. And on and even I if I do it because I have to, I always feel like I could invest my time in a more productive thing for humanity, for my family, for the world, that doing something that a computer could do. I don't know. It's like
Okay,
that's what I think.
okay. Well, the three words that you said that stick in my mind are family, um, family and humanity. And you just said something else too. Family, humanity,
And the light, giving my light. I don't know.
living the
That's
life. Okay, let's try something. Close your eyes, please. And imagine that there's no limits on your thinking now. No limits on your thinking. You know, usually when we start to think more widely, think bigger thoughts, there's some kind of security guard that comes into our head and tells us, no, you can't think that. Let's just get rid of that security guard now and open your mind to consider, without logic, without any rationality, but just to let whatever thoughts come. What is it that you might want to do in your heart of hearts, in your soul? What is it that if you could do anything that you would want, if you could have your pick, what is it that you would want to do with your life aside from accounting, instead of accounting? Take your time. Don't chase after ideas. Let the ideas come to you. Take your time. Okay, I see you smiling, so maybe it's time to ask you if you have received any ideas.
that's it. I want to smile.
Okay. You want to smile? That's the answer?
Yes. Yes, you know, at the beginning, I start like the logical part is it was still there, and like writing and talking and all that kind of ideas came to me. But then you start saying, don't like put it in them, and suddenly I just see my face smiling, And I thought, I want to smile.
Okay. Okay, so you see your mind, or the higher part of your mind went right to the root. What is the root? The root is that whatever you want to do, you're going to be happy doing it. You want to smile. Of course, when you smile, you're giving off your light. So that has to be the common denominator for you. That's something that's, I think, that's non-negotiable for you, that whatever it is, that you have to be happy doing it. And it can come in different forms. Like you said, it's writing or other things, but those are the branches on the tree. They're not the actual tree itself. The root of what you want is something that involves light, and it involves joy, happiness. Okay, so now we can go back again. Close your eyes and go back inside, if you will. And open yourself to thoughts that are bigger than this world. You have the capacity to think thoughts that are beyond everyday thoughts, beyond everyday mundane thoughts. Your soul has the capacity to have big spiritual thoughts and to know things that your own five senses may not even know yet. So just think about what possibilities may exist. What are the things that you might enjoy doing that would be feeding your soul, that would give you that sense of purpose, of being able to connect with humanity, help your family in some type of a spiritual way. And don't be afraid to think about things that would be very big, that might seem very grand or great. Because even if you think of doing something on a large scale, something very public, for example, you don't have to tell us about it. You can keep it to yourself. Just give yourself permission to receive it and to think about it now. Would that be all right? All right. Take your time, and when you feel you've had enough time, just let me know. But there's no rush. Okay.
Okay.
What was that like?
It was really, really, it feels really good. It was like finally getting my mind in black, in a white paper. That's how it feels. Like at the beginning, I was like traveling or seeing mountains on like those kind of things, and then it all came like wide. And at the end, just before I opened my eyes, it came like the words teach and like share knowledge.
Teach,
And
share knowledge.
yes, that's how I enjoy doing, and I start like it start feeling like good, like freedom.
Freedom. Freedom to teach and share. Okay, and to give. Could this be related to this teaching your children meditation and having had such a positive experience with the courses that you took with us? Is this part of it that you wanted?
I think it's all like part of the new way. It's like,
Yeah. I'm just wondering, Mari, if there are people who have are unmuted and that's why we're getting background sounds. Anyway,
Mari is not with us. She had to reconnect and maybe she's standing outside and you need to
I see.
ask her in.
Okay, I'm doing that now. So if everybody could please mute themselves so we don't have the background sound. Thank you. And I'm going to make Mari the host again. Here we go. Okay, so, wow. So you want to teach, and what is it that you want to teach people?
I think like from all what I have learned from life, it's like during the journey you accumulate things that are good, like to share with others. For example, I came from a home where my mom she started a bakery, but for me, like baking, it's more than just like the like making a cake or bread. It's all the process. Like you take these ingredients that you will say you will not give anything for those ingredients, and then you mix them, you put them together, and it comes this masterpiece. And I see that it's like how it works also on life. We have like different things, different strengths within us, and when we mix them, it comes a really good work from us.
Mm-hmm.
It's so it's I have like this ability like to see different things and bring them up and build like bridge from one thing to another.
Right, but what is the knowledge that you want to impart to other people?
What I think is that I might not have what it's within for the other, but because it's a discover from everyone. So it's like sometimes just by talking, by saying what I think, and that's how I see it with my friends, with my family, and suddenly someone said, "Oh, you're right," and I'm like, "What? I don't know what 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 I am right of," but it makes a kind of a link for the person that it's like talking with me, or who I'm giving like some ideas.
Okay.
And it's kind of that.
You see, I'm just wondering if it was your starting to trust in God more, that you said that you really did a year ago, that you started to shift and put your life and your livelihood, the most important parts of your life, your livelihood, your income, your marriage, right? Because you didn't really know exactly how your husband was going to react to this spiritual change that you made before you make it. And also your children, all of these three things, career, marriage, children, your own personal life, you took a leap of faith and you said, okay, this has got to change. Something's got to change. I'm going to cut back on my hours of work. I really don't want to be an accountant in the long run. Maybe I have to be an accountant for a while yet until you find a suitable substitute. But I wonder if this is really something that you want to give to other people. When you say you want to give your light, could it be that this is what you want to give? That you want to give people that same faith and belief that enabled you, that empowered you to make this change? You want to give it to them. Does that make sense?
That makes completely sense. Yes, it's like that, like that trust.
Trust.
To trust.
That's what it is. Okay. So close your eyes again, please. Because I'm going to ask you now some very difficult questions. I want you to take a few relaxing breaths and let yourself trust. To go deeper this time, if you can. In letting go and just trusting God. Because, a lot of people tell me that they trust God. And then when I ask them, well, how does it feel different when you trust God? How do you think differently when you trust God? They say to me, well, I give charity and I go and I pray 3 times a day and I learn Torah. And I think to myself, okay, those are good things. But how is that thinking differently than a normal, than we think in our everyday lives? What are you, I want you to see if you can connect to what it feels like to experience faith, to really experience it, to feel it, and to think it. And when you do this, you might get images, pictures that come into your mind. Things that don't seem to be related even to our conversation, and that's perfectly okay. But there is something that's coming up for you. There's something that's coming to the surface. And your soul is always trying to communicate with you through good feelings or through good images, as it is with all of us. So let yourself feel whatever deep good feelings there are and whatever images and positive thoughts are coming into your mind. Stay with it as long as you need to, Denise, until you feel that you can come back gently and tell us in your own words what faith feels like, how the experience of faith is different than the normal everyday experience, how your thoughts and your mental processing is different. than the everyday way.
It's like, you know, the waves of the ocean when it just came to the shore. It's like that calm at the end. It's how I feel it. Like just belief gives me freedom.
Freedom.
And makes me feel calm, like
Yeah.
Energy. It's just like going on, and everything's going to be okay, because it's just like a matter of trust.
You know, it's interesting. It's reminding me of a story about a great Rebbe, a great tzaddik, who lived during the time of the war, and there was a lot of bombings going on in the city where he lived. And he was in a room at the time when bombs were falling everywhere. And the building was shaking. There could have been, I don't know, 100 or more people in the room there with him, and everybody was starting to get scared and panicking. And the Rebbe went over very calmly, and he put his hand on the mezuzah on the door. You know what a mezuzah is? A mezuzah is
No.
Is a scroll. I don't have one here, but I can tell you. It's a small scroll. With some writings from the Torah on it. It's wrapped up in tomes. There's one of these things on almost every doorpost. When you walk into the house and in all the different posts, he puts his hands on there, and inside there's holy writing, the Shema and different things from the Torah, right? And he stands there like calm, and all of a sudden everybody gets calm and free, like you said, and everything is just no worries. And as the story goes, I believe that that was one of the buildings that stayed up. It's one of the buildings that stayed up. Yeah. To be able to stay calm is a tremendous thing. And so when you cultivate this calmness and this newfound freedom that you have, you're going to be able to do all kinds of things for yourself, for your family, for other people. You know, there's another story about Rav Levovich. I think his name was Rabbi Yechiel Levovich. He was one of the I don't know. He had a grandson who I think was one of the main Reb Zev Levovich, Yehuda Zev, I think. He was one of the teachers of Rabbi Shalom Alush. Anyway, there was a story about him that during the war, he had a habit. He wasn't a habit, really. We call it a custom. That he would come home from shul. He'd come home from the synagogue on Shabbat. And he would make kiddush. He would make a blessing over a cup of wine out in the backyard. And the whole family would gather around, women and children. And then they would go into the house and they would have the big meal, the Shabbos meal. So one day, he's Rabbi Levovich is getting to make kiddush, and some Nazis are coming. And the Nazis knew that he owned it wasn't a bakery, but it was a grocery store, and he had food. And they said to him, "Hey, Jew, go open your store. We need food." And the rabbi said to the Nazis, he said to them, and he didn't have to say this because his life was in danger, but he said, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't open it on Shabbos, but if you come back after sundown, we'll be happy to give you whatever it is that you need. And they said, well, you don't understand, Rabbi. If you don't open it in 10 minutes, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill you against that wall right over there. So, of course, the whole family is going into panic and screaming and yelling. And the rabbi was very, very calm. Very calm. Because like you, he had deep faith. He had a faith that we can't really even understand in our generation. But he was probably breathing just like you and I breathe when we meditate. But he was breathing, even though his life was in danger, he was probably breathing like that. And he very calmly turned around, did an about face, walked towards the wall, and he stood there with his face facing the wall. And he waited 10 minutes. And precisely at the strike of when the clock hit 10, another truck came, and now the Nazis, there were more of them there, and they started fighting with each other. They started arguing with each other. And the bottom line was, one group wanted to get the food, the other group said, no, we don't have time, we have to go, forget about the food, and they all left. Now, who knows what he was thinking about when he was standing there at that wall, but I think he was thinking some pretty big spiritual thoughts, and I'm sure that he was doing a meditation, and you see waves and things, and he was seeing whatever he was seeing. Maybe he saw himself like a pillar of fire, or he's standing before God. Maybe he's throwing himself at God, in front of God's throne, at God's feet. You know, you're allowed to imagine these images, even though they're not real. God is not an old man with a white beard sitting in a chair in heaven, but we're allowed to think these things as tools to arouse us and to give us spiritual feelings and energy to do things that take a lot of courage. Mm-hmm. We're allowed to, and we have to. So that's it. You said that the key words that you're using are very important. Calmness, freedom, light, trust. These words, you can meditate further on these words and let's see where they take you, on your own. You can let us know more. We can have a follow-up talk like this, or you can write in or whatever and tell us. But I think that you definitely have something very special to share with your community. Where do you live, Denise?
Costa Rica.
In Costa Rica.
In a small,
a small village?
In a small town that it's called Santana, within like that Costa Rica downtown that it's San Jose. But yes.
I think a lot of people today are looking for what you're developing, what you're working on in yourself. Wouldn't you say so?
I think yes, you're right.
Okay, look, I want to thank you for being so brave to come forward and work with me. I'm in a way a stranger to you. I know we know each other, but we don't really know each other personally. And it took guts.
Yes.
And also to do it publicly in front of people who are strangers.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. I also, part of the arrangement that we made with each other is that that we could make this into a learning opportunity for other people, and that if other people have questions, they want to ask questions either of you or they want to ask questions of me, that they can do so. So with your permission, I would like to open the floor and have Mari moderate any questions that people have that they want to ask or comments that they want to make. about anything that that you observed here today or heard.
Hi, we have a comment from Priscilla. Maybe Priscilla, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes. Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Priscilla.
Hi, Rabbi. I wanted to just thank Denise for opening up a lot of what she experienced through her life with regards to her job. It spoke to me when you were talking to her, because that happened to me about 2 years. I felt like I needed to be working. And it seems now that I have a part-time job. My husband is providing for the family. We seem like we have more parnasa, and it is a faith thing. It has been since my faith has grown, my Emunah, that everything just flows more comfortably, and I'm not working as much. So if that helps Denise, I know Denise's story helped me, because I was like, oh, confirmation that is so what happened in our lives. And it seems like a few of my friends, once they build their Emunah, like they lose their jobs or something happens with their jobs, and like alignment happens with the husband having to be the provider, and then us being at home. And I know she's probably not wanting to hear. I have not left the workforce. I just don't work full time, and I spend a lot more time with my daughter, and she's a special needs. So thank you
Wow.
for
Wow.
this session. Yeah.
Thanks
Wow.
for sharing.
Thanks for sharing. Denise, do you want to comment a little bit about Priscilla, what she said?
No, I want to thank Priscilla for sharing her experience and to let us know the match between the stories.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you would like to direct message me or Facebook friend me, I can talk to you a little bit more if it's okay. And I mean, my current experiences, I worked very interesting jobs. I never thought I would be teaching ESL to English speakers. I'm a social worker, or I have a master's in social work, and I worked for a state agency for 23 years. And then all of a sudden it was like, nope, you're not there anymore. And it had to be Hashem taking me out that way, or I would have not left. And it was not a very comfortable way of being taken out. But I see why now, especially with COVID. You know, I had to be my daughter's virtual teacher for 4 months, but now she's in school again. So I see why. I just didn't understand it back then. So trust that Hashem is writing the script, and it will make sense. It will make sense. It may not make sense now, but it will make sense as you go, as you keep growing. And that's why I stay connected to Rabbi and Rabbi Arush and Rabbi Brody, all of the really wonderful tzaddiks. So I'm learning a lot, and I don't know if this makes any sense, but that's your story really confirmed a lot, and Rabbi helped also. It was kind of like he was confirming what I needed to hear as well. And it's been 2 years. And believe me, I used to have like nightmares from not having work at first. And then I said, no, I have to trust Hashem, and I need to make sure that I don't leave that trust. And it takes two. It takes the trust and the Emunah and the betochen, the trust and the faith and the trust. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
so thank you.
So
Can
we
I
have
say something?
Annette.
Yeah. I liked your story, Denise, and I like that you have a dream to be a mother. And I think we modern women need to be encouraged to have that dream. I always had it. I lost my mother when I was 5 years old, and I always had the dream to be the mother I never had. And I always thought that was a low dream because it's no career, and I grew up in Western Germany that was quite conservative, and my family was especially conservative, and they never encouraged me to seek a career. They were more like, okay, you can educate something with 3 years education, and then you have work. If your husband leaves you or dies or something like that, like a rescue, but you will be the head of a family when you get married and get children. So in my 20s, I blamed them that they never encouraged me to get a higher education and get a career, because everybody asked me if I'm really satisfied with this job and only 3 years, and why not medicine, because I work in the health area. And then I got 3 children, and luckily I have a conservative husband who was who agreed with me that I need to be together with the children. And then Hashem gave me a chronic disease, so I didn't need, or I saw that I can't give 100% in job and in my household. So it was okay for me. It was the excuse that I only work part-time. But when I look back now, I am so satisfied, and I see the blessing, because I think our children really need us, and they need that we are just around. They need us in the house. They don't need dialogues or that we make something with them. So I hope I can encourage you to really take time for the children. And I think we not always see at the moment what they need, but when I look back, my children are now 22 and 20 and 16, and we are really close. And when I see their friends who are not close with their parents, then I see the fruits that I got with my dedication. Yeah.
I love your story too, Annette. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, thank you. Somebody else with a hand up? Ruven, was that you?
Hi, Denise. Hi, Rabbi.
Hi. Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Denise, for sharing your information. It was kind of you, because I'm learning some things from it.
Okay.
Oh, it's good to know. That's the purpose. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your comment. Thank you. And thanks for coming every week. You're a regular already. Baruch Hashem. Anyone else?
I have a question arise to me recently. So Proverbs, the Mujer Virtuosa, Proverbs 31, where it's about the wisdom, the woman wisdom or talented. I don't know how to say it in English. It's called Mujer Virtuosa in Spanish. Maybe Priscilla knows. So it says how the woman works and brings and takes care of the kids and all that. How to put it in perspective to nowadays.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's this is the question. This is today's theme. It's interesting because I was raised in a Jewish home, but we were not raised in a religious way. And I became religious about 30 something years ago. I became religious, a religious Jew. But the emphasis was always to go to college. The girls should, go to college and they should become professionals and lawyers and doctors. This is very stressed in secular Jewish homes. You have to be not only do you have to go to college, but you have to do more than that. You have to be some type of professional or something. You have to be successful. And I contrast that with now how it is, how I can see my daughter. I have a daughter who is 18 years old. She's going to be 19. And she's in seminary here in Jerusalem. And the way they're teaching her is that they discourage her from going to college. They tell you, look, your place is really, the main importance of a woman is to be home, be with her children. Now, this is a difficult thing because my daughter is very, very bright. She's brilliant, really, a lot smarter than I am. And she could do anything with her mind. She could be a doctor, she could be a lawyer, she could be a scientist, she could be an interpreter. She's very good at languages. She could do a million different things. And yet, she doesn't really have an interest. She says to me, Tati, Father, I really don't have any interest in going to college. I really don't. I want to build a family and I want to be there for my children. And I want to trust Hashem that my husband will be able to make enough. And that if he needs help, I'll supplement it on the side. I'll do some of this, I'll do some work. Of course, there's always things that, the person can do to make money without having to spend 5, 6, 7 years. I went to school for 10 years to do what I do, So the philosophy of education that we have here is that, yes, we need doctors and lawyers, we need accountants, but it's a big world. There's a lot of people that can do that, that can fulfill those functions. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person whose heart and soul is really with God. If a person has such a soul, that the soul is crying out to do God's work more directly, of course you can do God's work as a good doctor too. But if the soul is crying out to do God's work in a different way, like Denise said, to teach meditation, then it takes guts. But with faith, we have a lot of guts. And even today, I live in a community where nobody has much money. The apartments are very small. Most of the families here are young families in their 30s. And the men aren't doing much in the way of work. They're learning Torah. They're learning Torah almost all day long. They go in the morning, they pray, they go in the morning, and from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, they learn Torah. And then they eat lunch, and then they pray the afternoon prayer, and then they learn Torah again till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then they come home and they have dinner with their families. And it's a real close-knit connection hour, but that's all it is, an hour and a half. And then they go back again to yeshiva, and they're learning another, till 10 o'clock. And then they pray, and they're coming home at 10:30, 11 o'clock. And this is a way of life that's not for everybody, right? And there's some people that are doing a modified version of this. But I look at these families and I wonder how do they eat? How do they pay their bills? And yet somehow there's always, on Shabbos, there's always plenty of food on the table. There's chicken, there's kugel, there's cholent, there's 4 or 5 different types of salads. There's a few different bottles of wine. There's beautiful homemade challahs, breads. And there's joy in those homes. Now, when you walk into the homes, the furnishings are not, they're not what there's a lot of Americans here in this community. It was about half Israeli, half Americans. The standard of living is not what the average American is used to. It's not what an average American is used to. But after a while, you get used to it. And what you have, what you're gaining is much more than what you're losing. So I don't know if that helps you, Mari, but this is one of the main conflicts in growing spiritually is the conflict between materialism and spirituality, and finding the right balance for you, and for your family, because we have to grow, but we also have to temper our growth so that we grow in alignment in a good way with the rest of the people in the family, with our husbands and our wives and everybody else. We're not all by ourselves here. So yeah, but materialism is one of the main things that pull us away from getting closer to God. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
In
you very much.
Judaism, there's a division of labor, like a very defined division of labor in Judaism, that the woman is the sort of the minister of the interior, and the man is the prime minister or the minister of the exterior. The woman's home is King Solomon, who was he was the smartest man that ever walked the earth, right? He said that it's the woman who has to be in the home, not the man, because a woman has a higher wisdom, what's called the Bina Yasera. The woman has a higher wisdom, and she can somehow tune into the children and give children and run a family in a way that a man can't. And I can tell you that from personal experience. The fact that I've been a licensed psychotherapist for 40 years doesn't make me, I'm still not where my wife is in terms of, being a therapist and knowing what I know is no substitute for being a woman. I could never run this home the way she does. I could never have raised our children the way she did. With all my psychological knowledge, it doesn't really matter. There's something in a woman's soul that's different. Yeah. Okay. Who else? I think maybe we have time for one more question or one more comment. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. We hope you enjoyed it. I did very much. Thanks again to Denise, and for being so bold and brave and opening up. And we're always looking for more volunteers. We want to do something like this every Sunday. So if you'd like to volunteer, please let us know. You can either write to me at Project Care, a private message, or you can email me at drzevbalin@gmail.com. And we'll have you, we'd be glad to host you. So if you've enjoyed this, please, the recordings will go out, and you can share the recording with people you care about, people you love, or people that you like. And together, we should be merit to spread Emunah, spread the simple faith in God throughout the world, okay? Until Bias HaMashiach, okay, until the coming of the true King of Israel. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. And thank you, Mari, for hosting. Kol Tov. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.